Today we're going to run through a Rebecca build for Cyberpunk. Rebecca is a gun-wielding maniac that runs around with no care for her own well-being. So basically, that's what we're going to do. We're going to run around, we're going to run, we're going to gun, we're going to scream at tunes. It's going to be a great time. Let's go. Let me know in the comments who your favorite Edgerunner is, and make sure you've subscribed, liked this video, or disliked this video, all that good stuff, you know how it goes. Rebecca uses basically all types of guns in the anime. Pistols, shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, and even a light machine gun at one point. For these Edgerunner builds, I've been trying to stick as close to their anime counterpart as possible, but it is difficult to do with Rebecca, as if we spend all of our perk points into just these weapon types, it doesn't leave much room to build up other parts of the kit. So what I've decided to do is focus on two main weapon types that Rebecca uses, the shotguns and the assault weapons, being the SMGs and the assault rifles. And Rebecca does seem to mostly use power weapons as well. So power weapons can ricochet when you do hit like the ground or the wall, and we're buffing our ricochet damage as much as possible for additional damage, so even if we miss, we may still actually hit them and it still will do decent damage. For the cyberdeck, Rebecca feels like she uses Berserk to me. It's not really clear if she does use the cyberdeck at all, but I feel like Berserk is fitting to the Rebecca theme. Now, Berserk reduces your weapon recoil, your weapon sway, and it also increases your armor and resistances, which is perfect for this build where we're really just running and gunning and increasing our survivability. And we're also increasing our survivability through some of our other perk decisions as well. But this build is a ton of fun, and it's even with the health and armor buffs, you do seem like a bit of a glass cannon on the ultra hard difficulty. If you're playing on the lower difficulties, you'll probably have no trouble at all, but on ultra hard, a well-timed sniper shot can rip through your whole health, but as long as you keep moving, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, you should have really good success with this build and no trouble defeating all of your enemies. Let's get into the attributes. Now, for attributes, our primary attribute that we're focusing on is body, which makes sense because body does buff our shotgun damage as well as our health and that kind of thing, so that fits perfectly with this build. Now, Rebecca does seem to use like modified gorilla arms, so if you wanted to buff gorilla arms as well, you could put points into the street brawler line, but I haven't done that here because we just don't have enough perk points to make this kit work if you want to use like all of the stuff that she uses. But so we're focusing really on body at 20, reflexes 18, technical ability 18, and cool 12, and no intelligence because we just don't have any points left over really. But reflexes is for our assault weapons using those SMGs and assault rifles, and technical ability for some crafting and engineering perks, which will help benefit our ricochet damage as well as allowing us to craft some gear, because it kind of fits with this build that we're going for in this gun runner kind of set. And Rebecca does, seem to use a lot of powerful weapons, and we can make our weapons really powerful by using those crafting skills. So it kind of fits together with that. For your perks, starting in body with athletics, your athletic perks here, we're really focusing on buffing our health as well as our health regen, picking up things like invisible to increase max health, as well as steel shell to increase armor, indestructible just to reduce our overall damage taken, and all of the different ones that buff our health regen and health regen threshold in combat and out of combat and all of that stuff. In the Annihilation line, you're going to pick up every single perk in this line. Hail of Bullets, you need to max that out to just give you overall gun damage, and then just pick up like everything in this line. It will all benefit your shotguns in some particular way, whether it's your ability to move faster or your ability to deal more damage or that kind of stuff. So you want to pick up pretty much everything in this line, except for Burn Baby Burn, because we don't really need to worry too much about burn damage, and because we're already strapped for perk points, we don't want to waste any here. Moving on to reflexes, the only line you need to focus on here is the assault line. Now, you will pick up most of the assault perks for your SMGs, but the ones you want to avoid are ones that mention behind cover. So bunker or covering kill shot, you want to avoid these because we're not going to be hiding behind cover, right? We are running and gunning. We're just going to zoom around and shoot things. So we want to avoid perks that make you stationary. We really want to focus on the movement aspects of this kit. So make sure you're picking up anything outside of that. Headshot, recoil, damage, all that stuff you really want to pick up, but avoid things that focus on, say, melee attacks or reducing your damage from behind cover, that sort of stuff. Moving on to the technical line, and we're going to start with crafting. And here you want to pick up all of the major crafting perks, crafting the legendary, the epics, the rares, all that stuff, as well as the perks that increase your crafted weapon damage, as well as your crafted clothes armor, because we we want that extra damage, and we also want that extra armor protection. The other perks you can pick up if you do have the points available, but again, we're strapped for perks with this line, so don't be too stressed if you can't pick them up, just pick up the main ones. In engineering, there is a couple of perks we do want. The main is play the angles, and you want to max this out. So this increases the damage that your ricochets do, and we can basically just attack with ricochets, so increasing this damage is really important. You do want to pick up Blade Runner as well to increase your damage to drones, mechs, and robots, and Insulation to give yourself immunity to shock, because shock is painful. Moving on to cool, there's a couple in the ninjutsu line, well, only one really, which is Assassin to increase your damage to human enemies. You want to pick that one up. And in Cold Blood, we're picking up a couple of perks here, mostly to focus on our range damage as well as increasing our armor. So you'll pick up the main Cold Blood perk, as well as picking up the Rapid Blood Flow for health regen, Frozen Precision to increase headshot damage, the Defensive Clodding for armor, Easy Out for range weapon damage with enemies within 5 meters, and Icy Veins for your recoil. And you could also pick up Will to Survive for increasing your all resistances as well. That is all of our perks. There is a lot of perks in this line, and we try to go through them very quickly. But moving on to Cyberware, there is a few main things for our Cyberware kit to focus on, and the first is the Berserk Cyberdeck. Now, this is the main Cyberware that you'll use, and you can initiate this at the start of fights to get the buffs from it. Now, the legendary version of this, the Zeta Tech Berserk Mark V, comes from Watson in Kaminuki. There is a Ripper doc here that will actually sell you the legendary version of this, and while you're there, you should pick up the Subdermal Armor legendary that he sells as well to just increase your armor by 300. The legendary Gorilla Arms you can get from our main man in Haywood Wellsprings. Now, these we're not using to like buff them at all. It's really just to complete this kit. They will do decent enough damage if you want to just use them, but for the most part, you aren't really going to use them. It's just for that aesthetic kind of purpose. The Ballistic Compressor is really important to pick up. The legendary version of this does increase your ricochet damage. It comes from Watson as well, from the other Ripper Doc in the Kabuki area. Now, if you go to him, he will sell you the legendary version of this, which will increase your ricochet damage. For the rest of my Cyberware, I'm not using anything too specific other than Cyberware that increases my overall health or improves my mitigation chance. And I'm also using the Kerensky Kov, I always hate saying that word, but where you do like a slide and it like slows down time briefly, just for those couple of moments when you are moving around and you do want to just slow down time briefly just to make sure you land up a shot, which can be difficult with the shotguns. So it just helps with that. And it also fits with the general flow of this build, but it's not really Rebecca specific, but it is something you can add. Moving on to weapons. Now, the main weapon you want to use is Rebecca's shotgun. This comes from the Corpo Plaza. If you go there and look at the Asaka Tower, you'll see some monks just like chilling on the side of the path. Then if you go to the left into the bushes, the weapon will be there. This is a power shotgun, so it fits perfectly with our power theme, and it's also Rebecca's shotgun, so it obviously fits in that regard, but otherwise you can really use any power weapons you like. I'm using the Hypercritical, which came in the last patch. You can get this at the end of a gig, and the Problem Solver SMG, but as long as you're using power weapons, you will see success with this, and you don't have to use anything specific. As long as it's a power shotgun or power assault rifle SMG, you'll do absolutely fine. Some quick leveling tips. When you are leveling, focus on body and technical ability first. Technical ability will give you the most bang for your buck for your points as well, because you'll get those high quality gear and upgrades so you can quickly make yourself more powerful, while body will improve your survivability and your effectiveness with those shotguns and LMGs. You can't get Rebecca's shotgun until Act 2, so you can use any power shotgun until that point, and you could just use any other power shotgun as well. Rebecca's shotgun does have such a long reload time, which does make it a bit difficult, but you can use any shotguns you like. This might be the last of our Cyberpunk builds. I might do a main build. If you want me to do one, let me know in the comments below, but I'm not really sure there's much to talk about there. It's very similar to Rebecca. It's just like maybe a little bit more focus on Gorilla Arms and shotguns, but for the most part, that's probably all of the Edgerunner builds. Let me know if there's any you'd like me else to do. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.